Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12-gauge autoloader.
Sure.
The 45 long slide.
Yep.
With laser sighting.
You betcha.
The Uzi 9mm.
Yes, sir.
Phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay. They'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
We all need to prepare ourselves. You might have the food, water, gold, and silver, but ask yourself, are you truly prepared? That's why you need to visit MaineMilitary.com. MaineMilitary.com carries everything you need. Gas masks, fire starter kits, high-capacity magazines, chemical suits, military surplus items, and much more. Do you own a firearm? MaineMilitary.com has a large selection of pistols and rifles suited for your needs. Are your local stores sold out of ammunition? Call or visit them today for prices on hard-to-find ammo and bulk ammo orders. You don't need to worry about having a military surplus store in your area because MaineMilitary.com is the only store you'll ever need, all from the comfort of your computer. Visit them online today at MaineMilitary.com. That's Maine, like the state, military.com.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you to always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. Permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt. Put men of God in jail. Harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand, defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Evening Intelligence Report. I'm Mark Cornke.
I'm Larry Lawson.
All right, one day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines, in occupied territories, southwest, northeast, east, and south. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, Liberty Tree Radio on YouTube, live stream, and we are on AM and FM micro stations, AM and FM conventional stations, and CB base stations, along with UltraNet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon and evening to all of our friends out there in the lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, which is out there on the left coast, which is on fire, but it's still, afternoon out there, along with CONUS, the outlying 48 states. Also, there is the two outlying distant states, Alaska and Hawaii, the territories, and the clock. It is 8:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Larry, what's the date today? What's it like in your neck of the woods? What's jumping off the wall in the Midwest and around the country, please?
This is the middle of September. This is the 15th of September, 2020 A.D. Dry as a bone here in Indiana. We see fires all over the west half of the country, in Oregon, in California, in Phoenix, Arizona. We know that these dry conditions have been set up deliberately with weather modifications. We call this chemtrails or aerosol geoengineering. Aluminum and barium have been sprayed over years and years and years and have dried out the country. And we've seen feds start fires before. Now we're seeing Fed proxies in the form of Black Lives Matter and other proxies out there. But we're also seeing, if you are on YouTube and you go to a channel called Dutch Sense, Dutch S-I-N-S-E, I believe it is, you'll find it, Dutch Sense. Dutch Sense normally focuses on earthquakes and, geological type events. But he's showing these fires as they're coming up on the weather satellites, and you're seeing these flashes, regular pulses, and actual laser lines being fired. We have directed energy weapons, DEW. We have satellites. We've got all kinds of laser directed energy weapons that can start these fires, and that's what these bastards are doing. The feds are driving the UN 2030 agenda, which wants to rewild large sections of this country and drive people out of their homes. In many cases, they've killed people. It's very interesting to see a lot of these neighborhoods in California and elsewhere. Remember last year in Paradise, homes and everything else are burned, homes and cars, and yet there's trees and things still standing. These weapons can melt cars and vehicles, and we're seeing pictures of cars with, aluminum wheels melted, et cetera, et cetera. We're seeing actual videos of these scumbags going around and lighting fires, and they're let out of jail with no bail or anything else. And one scumbag they let out, and he lit 6 more fires. So it's just like, the phony baloney ISIS. Remember that home Obama, You remember the faggot that had the man as his wife that pushed bathroom laws, so that these trannies and other things can go in there and hassle girls. That home Obama, the one that's never been arrested. Hillary that's never been arrested. Now Trump says he's going to arrest some other people. Really? You haven't arrested Hillary yet, bud. You haven't arrested any of them. And Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch says that Durham isn't even looking into it. They're not doing anything. Just like home Obama. They're not doing anything. The corruption reigns. Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. They're two sides of the same coin. Both Epstein guilty, both corrupt, both serving our enemy, which is 9/11 murdering, Epstein raping, blackmailing, ISIS, Beirut nuking, parasite, scumbag, satanic Israel. You get it? That's who's running this country. Israel. They just locked down their country for a second time. You've got a corrupt nitwit piece of garbage, little crime minister, whiny baby nitwit Yahoo. That's who's running their country, a corrupt piece of garbage. You've got a corrupt piece of garbage running this country. Epstein guilty Trump, who hung around with Roy Cohn, a gay Jewish mob boss who liked to go to parties dressed up. And there's a picture of Cohn and Trump standing right next to him, dolled up in makeup, wearing a Roman centurion outfit. Trump is a faggot. He's a queer. Melania is his beard. Do you get this, guys? He traded Cohn in after he died of AIDS for Rudy Giuliani. And there's pictures of Rudy Giuliani wearing a dress and a wig and Trump schmoozing all over him. I think Trump's just as queer as home Obama was. I mean, these guys are all perverts. They're both sides of the same corrupt coin. Warmongering, surveillance state, creeps. And they're trying to, look at the choice we had in 2016. You had Hillary the witch Clinton, who ate children, and you had Trump, who nobody heard much about. It turns out he's the same exact garbage, Freemason. Look at the flag that he did on the Scottish golf course. It's a Freemasonic flag. He's all up there for Israel. He's not MAGA, he's MEGA. Okay? He murders people for Israel, like General Soleimani, who was really good at killing Israeli ISIS troops there in Syria. Can't have that. So Trump used a drone and killed the guy. Okay? That's who we've gotten in the White House, is somebody who works for them, not us. And they're destroying this economy. They turned the Federal Reserve over to a group called Blackstone, which is the Israeli Zionists, and now they're just stealing everything with wild abandon. They're setting this country up for a big economic fall because they want the fiat currency worthless and debased so that they can force you onto a digital currency tied to mandatory compliance with vaccines. They're already teaching you to be submissive with the masks. Folks, the World Bank had invoices for COVID-19 test kits for various countries. COVID-19 test kits in the year 2017. Do you get it? This whole thing has been staged. Look up Event 201, where the CDC and that piece of garbage, Bill Gates, and his disgusting little tranny wife, or whatever that is, Melvin Gates, are pushing a vaccine and quantum dot tattoo tracking to make sure that you've complied. You can't play in their digital ballpark unless you've complied with their vaccine, which will likely kill you, but it's definitely a DNA-altering vaccine. They want to give you more than one jab. They're using new things called hydrogel, and it's activated electronically from outside your body to change your DNA. You won't be you anymore. This is the mark of the beast. You can't buy or sell unless you get it, and that's what's being set up. And Trump's mouthing off that he's going to use the military to do this, and they may even do this by the 1st of November. Or they may use the military for something else by the 1st of November. But this is what they are talking about. So we're on a short timeline here, maybe a month and a half now, folks. Maybe, if they don't move this up. But it's all a lie. The COVIDiocy is a lie. There was a much more virulent strain of this stuff going around in Italy and China and elsewhere. Whatever they got going around here is nothing. You've got a 99.99% chance of surviving it, unless you're 80 plus years old with other complications. You're going to do fine. So remember that the fat little rapture boy, the CIA lying piece of garbage, Mikey Pompous, the CIA paid hack, got up there and said, we're in a live exercise. And then your little Zionist buddy Trump mumbles, they should have told us. Well, who's they, Trump? Who's they, you piece of garbage, you little puppet piece of garbage? They is FEMA. He turned power over to FEMA by declaring a national state of emergency. And that is for 6 months. Congress can't do anything about that for 6 months. Trump is a puppet who's doing nothing now except distracting you with an election. Everybody's supposed to vote for what? The pro-law and order candidate? He's part of this. He gave Gates Gavi Group $8 billion. Do you get it? Gates just released a whole bunch of genetically modified mosquitoes that do God knows what. Why is that Fruit Loop piece of garbage being allowed to do these things, period? And not just being allowed to do them, rules and everything were cleared to make it easy for him to do it. So he's targeting you. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, really, one of the things that gets me about this latest wave, because now they're really starting to bite down on that we're going to lock everything down again. It's like everybody's finished with that, or should be. But, everybody used to tell us, I'm not going to see this in my lifetime. This isn't going to happen. All this is the communist East German Stasi garbage across the board. We all swore we wouldn't let them do this. They played this card. Well, we're going to have to stop it, which means the mouthy little pieces of trash that come up to you bug-eyed, which nobody comes up to me. I look a little crazy right now anyway. I look a little on the Tasmanian devil side. So they might look for a second, but they don't even look bug-eyed at. In fact, they won't even stare at you. It's like, because I'm looking for an excuse. And it's obvious I'm looking for an excuse, because I'll make eye contact as quickly as I can with a Fruit Loop. The ones that are wearing the commercial masks and, have the rubber gloves on, and, but they see that you're not wearing anything, and you're sitting there in your car, and you're, but, oh my God, and you have the window down. And it's like, yeah, say something, please. You're not going to like what I start with or finish, and it'll probably be a lot in between hurt. The big thing here, again, is we don't have that much time. Whatever variation in game they're going to play, nobody's going to be electing anyone for the fake election. It's going to be whatever the powers that be choose based on their sensory perception of the social media and other physical responses they're getting from the people who pay for everything, and that's us. That's what they're watching. And they're going to try to, they'll claim, oh, look, Trump nobody is. The only thing that's going to happen here, and it's going to be even more blatant than ever in all of the elections, is they're just going to decide and point a finger at whichever turd they decide to, not flush, and it's going to be just an ugly turd stuck in the toilet there with the water backing up, and it's going to get worse. So nobody's going to be happy with it as far as anybody who's tuned into Looney Town. And we are going to have to deal with the problem because, as has been the case, we are going to be taking the brunt of whatever they, kick off with. It's just that simple, and it's not going to slow down. It's going to get worse. The attitudes that you've already seen, the way people have been attacked, how many different variations we've covered, we've physically, everybody's had a chance to see, in many cases, firsthand in the last several months, in the last year, and it's been really going on for years. It's just that the level and the extent is like nothing that even those of us who have been around for a while, you've never seen as broad and as personal an attack as they've generated. Well, go ahead, you do that. I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, I'm just basically looking for that excuse now. But when it does start, we're not going to be worrying we're going to get rid of the organic sandbags, but it's the ones that are feeding the money, the ones that let the money move. How can you move and pay for all of this garbage with FinCEN and a massive police state that we have that watches your money, not we're not talking Antifa right now. Let's just talk you. You are spied upon every day through the infrastructure of the banking system. Every day. It's been going on for more than 30 years, but 30 years it's been intense because of FinCEN. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. When I first brought it up, they screamed that, oh, that's crazy, there's no such thing, except that, guys, we can't open our mouth until we actually have all the information, and so we had date, time, place, the whole 9 yards. Who's who in the zoo? How many organizations met to create FinCEN? What is it? Okay? Well, that organization watches all of the money moving around the country and around the planet, actually. So how is Soros or Soros's mafia, Jewish mafia, how is anybody moving millions and tens of millions of dollars across international and state borders, and the government is not intervening? The government will lock onto your $8,000 if somebody got their panties in a bunch and thought they could steal your $8,000 by holding it. Do you remember all the horror stories, Larry? We've covered this for years, guys. How many horror stories where somebody was trying to move their money, in the banking system, and they got flagged, and their money got grabbed and stolen, people? So how is Soros's money moving anywhere? The only way that can be happening is that the fake Democrats and the fake Republicans run by the Jewish mob are doing it to you. They're doing this whole thing. It's called playing the rubes. But that one institution, this one mechanism, is the core spying group. It's not the only spying group, but it's the premier spying group that is tied into the fusion centers. It's tied into FEMA. It's tied into FBI, bat faggots, federal marshals, tied into Homeland Security, a foreign agent of a foreign power. And yet you're seeing no action taken, and your country is on fire. Be it on the streets or out in the countryside, your country's on fire. Now, my attitude is we had several conversations the last few days, Larry. Guys, a lot of people have been caught in the act. Okay, I don't know if you saw this or how many of you did, but the scene where the woman catches the guy in the driveway of their house, which is out in the middle of nowhere, and she's got him on the ground, and she flat out says, "You're lucky I caught you and not my husband, or we wouldn't be having any conversation because you'd be dead." He goes, "I've already called the police. The police are coming to get you, but if you move, you do anything, you're dead. I'm going to shoot you. That's it. So you just stay right where you are." He had the matches in his right hand. He's laying face down, and he keeps doing "I was just looking for my phone. I was just looking for my camera, my phone, my camera." It's like, really? Now, what's really funny is I looked in the picture. If you run across this video, it's been pulled a couple of times by YouTube and by Facebook. But what's interesting is look in the guy's back pocket on the right. Now, if you're left-handed, think about this. Where do you carry your wallet if you carry it in your pants? Larry, think about that. When if you carried a wallet, when you started carrying a wallet and you wear blue jeans, where do you put the wallet?
Well, I've always put it in the front because I thought it was a little easier to keep track of it there if they tried to pick it.
Well, that's true. Okay, that's true. But usually the left rear pocket, right? Because you're right-handed. Usually you stick it in your left pocket so it's kind of out of the way. Well, I noticed when this guy's talking, if you watch the video, look in his right rear pocket. He's got a wallet. I can see that. What's that other rectangular object in his pocket? He's already got the wallet in one, and he claims he's looking for his phone. But he's laying on the ground, and he keeps using that as the excuse. Look at his right rear pant pocket. Look at the silhouette and tell me what that is. Now, remember, he wasn't laying down, and he wasn't on the ground before he started. He was standing upright. So he had that's his phone sitting there in the pocket. I was looking for my phone with the pack of matches in daylight. Right. Okay, well, you just hold right there. Now, here's the thing, as many people I've talked to today and yesterday said, it's like, what we don't know is how many people have shot their ass and just made them disappear. And you know what? The farther out in the middle of nowhere you go, and it's like, oh, well, I ain't calling anybody. Not only that, the guy got shot from 1,000 yards away, 800 yards away, 1,200 yards away. out there, people hunt mule deer where they grab their rifle and run out back because it's over on the fence line. Where's the fence line? It's 80 acres over there.
I hope it's been a lot of them.
Well, and the thing is, what's really cute is who knows if it was more than one in one place. I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere. A lot of people are just not going to take the chance. People in the country, well, let's put it this way. There's a big difference between a person in an urban area, who, by the way, a lot of them are paranoid and will shoot your ass in a heartbeat if you try to get in their property. But, like in the semi-rural, like the suburban, we used to be out in nowhere, but we've had the suburbia is rolled towards us, okay? This area is less likely for you to probably end up being dropped dead. But the farther out you go, the more the attitude is the police are 2 and 3 hours away, and if I shoot your ass, I don't have to keep track of you. Does everybody understand that? When my first experience in Arizona with the Arizona Highway Patrol when I was down at U6, we used to mountain climb. We used to do face climbing, rock climbing all over because it's free. And on the weekend, we was something to do. We didn't spend money, just put gas money in the car, drove it out in the middle of nowhere, and, we'd go see the terrain was like because we had good maps. Anyway, we got out there, and this Arizona Highway Patrol car passes us in the other direction. He does a U-turn, and we're out in the middle of nowhere. We're like 2 hours from everything. 3 hours, okay? And he turns around, he comes back, and he pulls us over. And it's like, what in the hell is he pulling us over for? So he comes up to the car, and he's real polite. He goes, "Hi, sir, how you doing?" I said, "Where are you going?" "Oh, we're going to go out here. We're going to do some rock climbing." And he goes, "Were you guys from the base?" "Oh, yeah, we're all from the base." And he goes, "Yeah, of course you had to show your driver's license." And everybody automatically, because they're so conditioned, has got their military ID. And he goes, "Okay, you guys got any guns?" And, of course, half these guys are from the East Coast, so they're like, "Oh, no, we don't have any guns." And he looks and he goes, "You got water?" And it's like, "Well, we got some water." He goes, "Okay, I'm going to tell you something." He goes, "First of all, if you come out here, you have to have a gun." He goes, I would expect you all to have a gun. In fact, I don't want to have to look for buzzards like in a week out or something like that because that's the only way I'll find you. If anybody calls me or calls for help, I'm hours away from anybody out here." He goes, "Next time I see you, if I stop you, you better have guns. And you better have water, like gallons of water. You're in the desert. This is Arizona." And it's like, oh, okay. That's really cool. So, Larry, we listened to that Arizona Highway Patrolman, and I went to the gun show. We went right back to town after we were done, and there was a gun show going on that weekend. Went right to the gun show. I bought a box of Smith & Wesson pistols for $60. A whole box full. It was like 20-some pistols, okay? And I got a Nagant rifle for $60, but it wasn't bad. There weren't any being imported back in the 70s, guys. That was a battlefield pickup a guy brought back from Vietnam. I sold it for a fortune when I got it back here later on. But what was cute is by the time we were done, we got I got ammunition, 38 Smith & Wesson standard for the revolver. Some of them were 32s. Smith & Wesson number 2s, number 3s. They were all Smiths, and there were 1 or 2 H&Rs. And everybody had a pistol, 2 actually, because it was a whole box full. There was only like 4 or 5 of us. And I got a pile of ammo for another $6-8 for like 600-700 rounds in a loose bag of 38 Smith & Wesson, and I got a 300 round pillow from Mexico of 7.62 by 54R, and we were gunned up, dudes. And next time we went out, we had pistolas with us, we had the Nagant with us, we had gallons of water. Of course, we just carried our field gear to carry our canteens, for water. And we made sure we followed the orders of that state highway patrolman to the letter. I'll tell you that. Came back, sold all those pistols were all Smith & Wesson. They were from some ghost town or from some family collection. All of them were collector's items. I should have kept one of each because it was everything in the small frame Smiths that were top breaks from way back in the day. But it was fun. And you know what? We made sure we carried guns, dudes. We had guns everywhere. So that's even the attitude of the cops is like, no, you better have a gun because somebody's after you. They're going to kill you. If you don't kill them, they're going to kill you. So you better kill them first because without here, that's how it works. So that's the attitude of a lot of people. You get farther out, it's like I said, there's not going to be any discussions. There's not going to be any warnings. Nobody's going to want to pick them up. The only thing you're going to do is pick them off. That's all they'll hear is the bullet thudding, because they won't hear the sound of the rifle. They won't have caught up yet. After they get hit, they'll hear the. And that's really what does need to happen. As far as I'm concerned, well, this is your opportunity to really shine and get rid of the problem. Every last one of them you can get hold of right now. Pick them off, deal with them. Don't worry about them. Let the buzzards eat on them and the coyotes. A day out, the coyotes will be chewing the hell out of them. And if you're in the wrong area of California, guys, do you know how bad the wild pig problem really is there? It's a lie here in Michigan. But out there in California, in like the central part of the state, they've got a big pig problem. And you're on the ground and you get shot, even if you're wounded and not dead, those pigs aren't going to think twice about making you today's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So all you got to figure is if you can just slow them and hobble them so bad they can't do anything but crawl, the pigs will do the rest. That's what needs to happen. We're counting down, like you said. We're literally, today is the halfway point for September. This is the 15th. Every day, what did I get done today? Well, Larry, I'll tell you two things. Number one, I got a bunch of construction done. I was in production mode. But then I got into production mode. I was working on frames for the armor for the trucks. Frames to hold steel plate using, what we're using is L frame. And I'm cutting it and then, screwing it and then, bolting everything together. Now everything's already set to go. It's just a jig. I jink, 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 and jink, jink, jink. Then come back and wire, just do a quick rasp to clear off any burrs, and then run the bolts together. And the frames are designed to go either in an F-150 right on the back of the box, or for a Silverado. And we can do Fords, but we don't. I mean, the big Fords, we just don't have that many of those. But anyway, the idea is that then you cut your plate, you bolt that right into that frame, and you can move the frame. This is something we're experimenting with right now. You can put the frame in the back right behind the cab, or you can move it all the way up to the back of the truck where the gate is, and add more armor, or put sandbags in between. You got the steel plate, then you got the sandbags, and then you got the back wall of the truck, up where the cab is. Or you can go the other way towards the end of the truck. Either way, you're armoring up quite nicely. Every day we've got to do something. Every day you've got to accomplish something for the war effort. It doesn't have to be big, but make it something that you can accomplish 100%. Because that will help to, everybody's, why aren't you, downbeat? Guys, we're going to have to be, we're not even in the beginning of this thing yet, really. I mean, we are, but we haven't seen bad yet. Does everybody understand that? We personally have not seen bad. I've seen bad, but we haven't seen bad yet. We got time. Enjoy yourself a little bit. Have some fun. Pick out something you want to do that's going to be personal for you, and go do it for a bit. But always turning back to, what can I do for the war effort? What can I do today to advance what needs to be done? Because we must. We got to win. Another thing, we're not going to be home by Christmas. This is going to be a long war. We may or may not see the end of it ourselves. I plan on being there, even if it's only one finger left and one eye that barely I can see out of. And if I can hobble to the jury box, I'm going to sit down. I want to be able to take. If I had to use my tongue, I'm going to push the guilty button. And we are going to have a lot of trials that are purely for the sake of making all of the crimes public. I know what everybody's saying. Larry, you probably ever heard it from a lot of people. It's like, well, man, they just shoot their ass, so we're not going to worry about a trial. Guys, the trial isn't so much to prove, guilt or innocence, because the guilt is going to be oh so obvious. The idea is to benchmark and document the atrocities, the wickedness, and put it into a record system where everybody is forced. They can try to lie about it, but they won't be able to. That's why you want trials, because all of these skeletons will be coming out of the closets. When you win, the things that you're going to see, for many people, even that are very mature and very, very knowledgeable men, they are going to blanch at what they discover. I do not doubt that. I mean, we can imagine, but it's another thing to see. Does anybody ever think about that? You can imagine, but it's another thing to see what we're talking about. And you won't want to, and there are things that when you see, you cannot unsee. Therefore, justice will be demanded. Now, in some cases, like I said, you're right there, they're in front of you, you've got a loaded gun, you see what's happened, you see what's before you, and the blood is on their hands. Oh, I know what you're going to do. I'm not going to deride you or attack you for it, but I would say if you can resign yourself to a little bit of time so that more truth can come out, that mouthpiece in front of you rather than silencing it might give you more information on the other bastards that we need to hunt down. You see, that's why, like I said, I'm not calling the cops. If we're attacked here, I'm not calling the cops. I'm keeping what I catch. Wouldn't you? I mean, you think about it. How many long years have we been in this war? Do you realize if I capture what I want to catch, it's going to tell me everything I need to know so that I can go deal with the real problem? Not the minions and the peons. The minions and the peons I can execute at my discretion. But I want specific, who's who in the zoo. To do that, you've got to work at collecting intelligence. Your enemy is an intelligence pod waiting to be harvested. You need to think that way. What can I do with this? And then when you get hold of it, you're going to go, oh, God, I wish I didn't know that. But too late. You're too late. Your eyes are now opened, and the knowledge is now there. So, Larry, you haven't had much rain, but how's the crops been doing? How's the end of the season for the garden?
Well, my garden did really well this year, but I got mine out early, and I had to keep on it as far as water goes. Now, I've had to help a friend here move, so I haven't been able to be watering it lately, but I've still got cabbage and cauliflower, broccoli, and all that stuff coming into the winter months. So, I mean, I'm going to try and get it watered tomorrow, but we still got a couple weeks until we get a frost here, and those type of crops will continue on with light frost. So I did pretty good this year as far as the garden goes, but wow, look at the hits that the rest of the country has taken and what they're deliberately taking the food supply down, folks, deliberately.
Oh, yes. Hey, before we go any farther on that, have you seen the report from Australia? Or have you seen their issue of their discussion about rice, what's going on with rice?
No, but I have seen that Germany is deliberately talking about stopping food production there.
Well, if they do, whoever does that, the country, the people need to drag them out and execute them. If they stop if they halt food production, they need to be gone.
They do.
Anybody that proposes that is a mortal enemy of the population and needs to be executed. I won't even hesitate in a heartbeat. I will tell you that. And the reason. Well, right now we know this is a fact. Australia has run out of rice a couple of times here in the last couple of weeks. Their inventory has depleted. They've been making deals, but the problem is that coming out of this storyline, Vietnam, which of course is the rice breadbasket for Asia, everybody gets one crop of rice except for Vietnam. Vietnam gets 3 crops of rice a year. 3. Well, Vietnam made a public statement that they are not going to come off any of their inventory because they believe they will need it for their own population's use. Australia has been marketing to them for quite some time, much like Saddam Hussein marketed with us. Okay? And so Australia did an emergency session, an emergency meeting with the premier and with the commerce people of Vietnam, and brokered out to get a percentage of their rice no matter what. But they're not paying regular price, I'll guarantee that. So this is what I said, months ago about talking about the food supply and where this would head. Guys, what's going to happen is they're going to go around and clear out the inventories respectively. We're doing South America right now. Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, Peru, and Chile. Don't see anything on Colombia, and certainly nothing on Venezuela. They don't have anything they're going to be able to ship out anyway. If they do, it'll go to one of the other communist countries. But with regard to rice, example, or crops, go to Dollar Tree. You don't have to buy anything. Go to a Dollar Tree, go over to the food section, go to where the rice and the grains are. Flip the bag over and look at the country of origin. Now, the latest batch of rice that was coming from Paraguay, same company name, is now coming from Brazil. The other stuff from Uruguay is still there, and there's also some that's coming from Chile, and then also beans from Brazil and beans from come on, what was the other one I saw there? I want to say, no, I think it was Peru was the other ones. Peru was the minority, but Peru is in there. Now, this has been rotating back and forth, but what this tells you is right now they're scouring the southern hemisphere, specifically South America, which has a massive agricultural base, and normally we don't deal with them to this level, but we are now, which should tell you something. So again, guys, take advantage of it. It's $1 for 2 pounds of rice. It's they also have lentils. The lentils were coming in from other countries other than the U.S., but the latest batch of lentils to come into the Dollar Trees here in our area is now from the United States, from North Dakota. So the North Dakota crop is in, which also means that Dollar Trees, Larry, like down where you are, you need to check your Dollar Trees, and even if you have to travel a little, call over and ask is probably your best bet. Hey, you got canned goods, latest wave of canned goods in? Because in the Ohio Valley, we don't get it in the middle of Michigan or even one county up. But on the bottom of Michigan and in the northern part of Ohio, there's a corridor there where all the canneries are. What's left of the canneries in the Midwest. It's a ghost of what we had. But the big cans come in right now to those Dollar Trees. So it's worth finding out what they have and grab it as much as you can. This time around, this is a way to get for $1 more food. It's that simple. It can be beans, it can be canned plums, it can be olives, which are not made here at all. But there have been a bunch of, the overruns or the overrun storage systems, whatever little they might have, is going to show up at Dollar Tree and maybe to Big Lot a little bit. But Big Lot is becoming a ghost. So I don't think Big Lot's going to be, in fact, Big Lot's already peeled back to the point where they almost look like they're on their last legs in certain stores in the area here. That's how low their inventory is. So, again, keep in mind, we've only got so much time to deal with getting the stuff on the shelf where it needs to be. Get it done and get it out of the way and get on with other projects. In fact, always add to your food supply. Always. You're not going to lose a penny. Just manage your food system. Make sure that you keep, picking up what you can, putting it on the shelf, storing it properly. It's not that hard to do. Otherwise, Larry, we're on the end of the tomatoes. What about you?
I don't have too many tomatoes left. I had a good crop this year. I meant to get out and can them, but I had to help a friend move who was suddenly forced out by her mother, and that's taken a lot of my time here lately, and it's a sad thing because they were set up pretty good as far as preps go. Now they have to live with their daughter, and it's not a good situation for them, and we're going right into the heart of this storm, so I really feel for them here. It couldn't be a worse time for them. But yeah, my tomatoes. But actually, what's weird is I've got a second crop coming. I've actually had 2 gardens here and put tomatoes in after the first batch. So I've actually got some tomatoes that are starting to come on again, Mark, as we're starting to go into the fall. And they may hit, they may not. We'll see. But I put out hundreds and hundreds of plants this year. I mean, it was the biggest garden I've ever had, and took lots of pictures, and it was pretty as could be. Even grew some corn this year I don't normally do, and coons did not get it. I was surprised. Coons like sweet corn. They like corn, so I've got seed for next year if we have it next year. But yeah, I did pretty good on the garden.
Well, we'll have it next year. It's just that we're going to be running almost 100% off of what we've got canning-wise. That's what I believe. If they hit the switch, and really I can't see how they're not going to be hitting the switch, one way or another, this thing's going to fumble screw into disaster. Now, the only question is to what extreme, okay, initially, but once it starts, the cascade is not going to stop. because most people are not listening until the last minute. We've got people that are scrambling around, just running like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to catch up, on what they have not been doing for a very long time. And because of that, they're complaining about, the cost. How many people come up to me about, do you know where I can get ammunition? Which, by the way, I better remember to mention that before I go any farther, too. But I keep telling them the same thing. I said, this is a seller's market now. Has been for months and months and months and months. And in fact, it really never let up from the last time 4 years ago. So the problem you've got, guys, is that whoever's got it knows that what they got is all they got. That's it. And they're not coming off it the way you would think. So, well, they are, but it's costing you twice as much and 3 times as much for certain ammunition. Plus, there's a lot of speculators that grab the stuff that was out there, and they're still doing that. You have to beat the characters who really aren't thinking they're going to store anything, but they figure they're going to make a bunch of money and business is going to be just the same as usual once everything's done. That's not going to be the case here. One way or another, once we have a cyclic shooting incident, government will be coming after your guns. Does everybody understand that? Government will be coming after your guns, not the Antifa. They won't be kicking in the doors of the communists. They will be coming after the American firearms owner because that's how their brains work. Because their logic is they can pump the police state up by giving them a victory against the population. You're the target. And that's who's going to be zeroed in on, is the regular American taxpayer, property owner, whatever. And Trump will do it just as quick as Biden / the other commie will do it. But what they'll do is they'll have their little word twisters and the Jewish mob do exactly what they've always done, lie their ass off. It's just like what you're hearing right now about what's going on with the fires out west. Oh, it's the right wing, blah, blah, blah. First of all, people, we don't do stuff like that. I mean, we don't burn stuff down. We don't chop up our own neighborhoods. We don't rob from the stores. We don't riot or loot from the stores. We don't do any of that. It's just not. It's not in our mind. It's it's like I've said a million times. Well, let's see. I feel unjust. I feel like I've been ginked in some way. Let's go down and bust up my neighbor's business. Yeah. That doesn't make sense to any of us. We don't do that. We just don't do that. That's the one part that when you look at these asshats, it's like, because in their mind, and I want you to think about this too, you got a bunch of prigs and a bunch of jackasses out there and a bunch of fools that are wearing the coffee filters, by the way, who when they're listening to this, blah, 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 it's like, you know why they can accept that? Because somehow the same idiot stick that will wear the coffee filter mask all day and cover themselves in alcohol, in their mind, they would do what Antifa does just as quickly. And when they talk about somebody doing that, they can place themselves doing that, therefore you must. They can perceive themselves performing a wicked deed like that. And they could find a way to justify and do it in their mind. And for that reason, that's why they can accept that as far as, trying to juxtaposition that with you. We don't do that on our side. We're the builders. We are on the life side. They are on the death side. It's all A, B, A, B, A, B. In the Patriot movement, we don't have anybody say, yeah, man, let's go ransack somebody's business. You won't find anybody saying that. Now, shooting somebody's ass who's ransacking somebody's business? Oh, hell yes, in a heartbeat. But the same is like with busting up my community where I live here. It's like I'm not, Daddy didn't train no fool. Well, of course, somebody say, well, what about those guys are your enemies? Well, I'll take care of them in other ways, and the business will still be sitting there to be run by somebody else. How do you like that one? Again, I'm smart enough to figure out if you burn it down, you don't have it. Right? But you've got these Nimrods, idiot sticks, dumb as a box of rocks, stupid people out there. And I mean, they are stupid. They've been given pats on the head and told how smart they are by other Fruit Loop communists in the school system that you let go too far. And those Fruit Loops, that's like in Tennessee, Larry, you probably saw this, where they don't want the parents to see what they're pumping to the kids in their virtual classroom. Larry, why would they not want you to see what they're doing to your children in the classroom on the computer? Why would they not want you to see that? What would they be doing?
Well, they've been programming the kids with garbage for years now, training them to be good little drones that support the system and support, all
be a queer, be a pedophile, go down the shopping list, be a pedophile, a tool of a pedophile. There you go. And since you got this pink-haired faggot, / queer's a $3 bill turd that's, teaching your children, wow, maybe they should be allowed to grope your children first to initiate them to the new world that they want your children to be a part of. And by the way, if you've listened to this program, we've covered all of the incidents where they've caught principals, superintendents of whole school systems molesting kids over and over and over again, and doing it and paying the kid. In other words, they got the kids converted, and they've got the children under their control. Now you think about that. What is it that those teachers don't want anyone to see? The truth about what kind of perversion they're actually throwing into the children's heads. Because otherwise, why would you care? It's the public school system, right? Isn't that the term used? Public school. I call it the public fool system. But the public fool system doesn't want you to see what the public fool system is putting into your children's heads. Then I would say they're criminal in nature and they have no business being near your children. See how that works? I would say they need to be gone. But that's just Uncle Mark. You know how that is. Anyway, real quick, I do have to mention this, Larry, for anybody out there. Attention, attention, attention. AIM Surplus, guys. AIM Surplus. AIM Surplus. Go over to aimsurplus.com. We're going to find out it might already be gone. I can't guarantee when we mentioned it 2 hours ago that it might be up on the site. 2 hours later, it's like, oh, that spit hit the griddle hard, and it's gone. Anyway, we'll find out in a minute here. I got to look, but aimsurplus.com, aimsurplus.com. And when you get over there, it's real easy. You'll notice there's a big bunch of banners on the front of the page, and it's aimsurplus.com. Lower left-hand corner is ammo. When you go to ammo, there's not much. Nobody has much. But, I was right. Yeah, I was right. Okay, well, let me put it this way. Larry, 2 hours ago, there was some 9mm over it. There was.
What the key word was that you put in there.
I knew that. They had 200 and some boxes of the stuff because I checked the spot on it. And in the last 2 hours, it's gone. It was Wolf, Ukrainian steel case. They do have, I'll list what they do. Well, here's what they do have that they claim they have at the moment. Wolf 7.62 by 39, 123 grain, hollow point, 20 round. I prefer with ball, but hey, there you go. $6.49 a box. Now, this is a good buy for you guys. 6.5 Grendel, 100 grain FMJ, 20 rounds for $7.95. That's not gone up in price. That's actually a good price for that stuff. The 6.5 Grendel has been pretty well eaten up in several locations, but it is still the most common of the new, now they're not Wildcat, but the new orphan rounds, because unless they sell more, whatever you buy is all you're going to find. No one's going to have it laying around on the battlefield. Wolf 308 Winchester 150 grain FMJ 20 round boxes $11.95. Wolf Slugs 12 gauge 5 rounds $3.95. 32 ACP 50 rounds Norma 30 caliber carbine. 40 Smith & Wesson. They still have. And they just got some other stuff in here too. 40 Smith & Wesson 165 grain $24.95 a box, but that's PPU. This is really good ammo. Boxer Prime, non-corrosive, needless to say, brass case, and it's very high-quality ammunition. Our guys have been shooting the snot out of this stuff for familiarization, but only rounds necessary. We're not plinking. There is no such thing anymore. But that's an excellent round. And if you got 40 cal, I know everybody's been asking me about 9, and then just as many people asked about 40. The 9mm Wolf is gone. The PPU 40 cal is still there. Plus, for you 10mm shooters, another batch of that just came in the last hour. Preview Partisan PPU 10 millimeter 170 grain FPJ, forgive me, 50 round box for $19.95. Hey, you got a 10 mil. I told everybody this before, months ago, a year ago. A lot of guys like the 10 millimeter. It's climbing again. This is a roller coaster for this, a resurrection of this cartridge. Kind of like 41 Magnum years ago. The 10 mil has always been kind of hanging in the wings. It's still out there. There's still ammunition coming in for it, so it is a solution. Next, Preview Partisan PPU 308 762 by 51 NATO. This is a 200-round battle pack. 20-round small boxes, not the commercial 20-round side-by-sides. These are 20-round small boxes like the 15-rounders. M80, 145 grain FMJ, 200 rounds for $150, which is, okay, but it's what that's what it's going for right now. And this is fresh ammunition. So it's Boxer Prime, non-corrosive, heat annealed, really clean, as new as you're going to get. This stuff just came out of the inventory. And that's it. Other than that, there's not a whole lot.
From?
Repeat.
Where is this from again?
Location on this is aimsurplus.com, 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 aimsurplus.com. No problem. Everybody else out there listening, I'm always repeat multiple times. Somebody got the 9 millimeter. It's already gone, but the 40 cal is still there. And I'll tell you what, this Norma, and I harp on this, Larry, but Norma ammunition is top grade, guys. And they've got this Norma 32 auto. If you've got a 32 ACP pistol, this is some of the nicest ammunition that you could run through your gun. If you were going to put something in the weapon to rely on because you just absolutely know it had to work, it worked. The 32 ACP is exactly, not exactly the first choice for a lot of people, but it's a nice pick round. It will kill you dead. And Norma does phenomenal work, and the ammunition is really high quality. And in fact, typically when we've done autopsies, well, I don't break too much ammo apart anymore, needless to say. But when we've done it in the past, Norma's brass weight and bullet weight and powder charge are more consistent. In other words, there's a certain amount of variance that's always allowed, but Norma has the tightest standards and the closest tolerance standards for a batch of ammunition. In other words, when you go through and you get 50 rounds, the brass is almost all the same weight. I don't know if they're using an automated scaler, because you could do that, and if you did, it brings up the accuracy to have all the brass the same weight. And I'm talking the same weight to, micrograms. The idea behind this is you tighten all your tolerances up by making all of your bullets consistent within a group. And you make all your brass consistent within a group. Primers, can't do much about that. Powder, needless to say, you make sure that trickler is 100%. Everything works and stays working and is properly, tightened down, locked down, and constantly surveyed. Okay, you do a test survey once in a while. You do a test batch, you pull a few, and you break them down, just like I'm talking about. But you do it fast because you're running machinery. Anyway, this is over at AIM Surplus. Everybody else has got a little bit of this, but AIM does have a good connection for Preview Partisan. They also just got a pile of wolf in, though. They probably have other stuff because they're still entering things on their page, and it's almost 9 o'clock. Now, I told you just before, they don't have any time during the day to do any inventory, pull in. So they're getting the stuff probably off the trucks. They wait till they're done with their business day and send out as many orders as they can, and then they finally start entering into the books and the computers the ammunition log. And that's why the stuff's coming in at night, not first thing in the morning. You want to check at night from now on. You should be constantly doing a survey. You don't have to sit here in front of the computer all night. At around 8 o'clock-ish, go through, have all your sites set up so you can do a quick survey, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you see something new, check to see what it is, count to see, because it's like I told you, I could tell by the lack of numbers that they sold out something, because most of the page is sold out. So the 9 millimeter is gone for the moment. Hopefully they'll get some more in. I'm sure somebody will. But you got to get it while you can. When we talked about it, if you were listening and you bought that 9 millimeter, you got it. If you waited till now while I'm talking about it, but you heard about it 2 hours ago, you didn't get any. It's that simple. That's a basic rule. You see it, if you don't have to wait for me to tell you about it. If you see it, 380 auto operators, if any of you are running 380 auto, I know I've had 1 million people ask you, I need 380. I say, you should have bought it 4 months ago. And I did tell everybody, I kept telling everybody, buy the ammo, buy the ammo. Well, now you're buying the ammo, you're buying it for more, but not everywhere. Well, AIM's been keeping their prices down. They've been very reasonable. Also, over at Centerfire Systems, remember, they have restocked a few items. They've got the 8mm Mauser back in stock for a good price, and they've got a few other rounds that have come in, but it's catch as catch can. So see what they've got, see if it's something you need, go from there. Larry, anything else before we go, sir?
Not really, Mark. I think we're down to about a month and a half. According to their words, they're talking about bringing military back home. They're going to be used on us. They've been trained to break into homes there in Iraq and other countries, and they're going to do that here. So get ready.
Be ready for it. There is 30 carbine almost everywhere. Everybody's got some. It's all the same batch of stuff. It's 30 carbine. It's Korean. It's got in-stripper clips. It's good ammunition. I shoot it all. I've shot millions of rounds of it. Well, millions, but I've shot a lot of Korean ammo. Never had a problem with it. Never had a malfunction. Right now, you need ammo on the shelf. If you got Grandpa's carbine or if you got a carbine, buy that 30 cal carbine ammo and make that your primary weapon if that's what you got to use because you didn't buy enough of the other ammo you should have bought. At least you can get the carbine for the same price you've been paying for it. God bless our republic.
Death eternal to the New World Order.
Hoorah. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The empire is on the run.
We're on the march both day and night.
We're on the march both day and night.
Thank you. For all of you out there, guys, we appreciate your input. Again, remember, organize, arm, equip, and train as militia. Support the technology. Buy what you can because it's not just for yourself. It's for the overall war effort for what's coming and what we need as a people. Larry, thank you for being there, sir.
Thank you, Mark.
God bless y'all. And Ed taking over. More LTR coming up. But I'm going to get out of the way, and we'll be back tomorrow. Same time. God bless. Bye-bye.